14 September 2021, time 9 a.m. So I had my initial classes or the beginning first classes at Canadore College, Mississauga for the Computer Systems Networking Technician program. And I can see that I gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of work to be done already here. So, what is going to be my strategy to do all that massive amount of work? Well, my strategy is a very simple one. Basically, just keep on doing things. Don't give up. Just keep on doing things. Do the most important tasks first and the other tasks later. That way, by arranging the priorities, I will be able to just keep on doing all that massive amount of work, homework, learning, and a lot of practice to be done, practical exercises, because I love to do each and everything practically. So a lot of work to be done here, and I'm going to just keep on doing it, arranging the priority from high priority to the lower ones, and it's going to be a great cruise ride. It's going to be absolutely mind-blowing. So my first most important task for the day is to actually install Ubuntu on Oracle VirtualBox. And it's a very good start. I know a bit about Linux, I know a bit about Ubuntu, because it is one of the most popular Linux distributions. So this is the first high priority task, to install Ubuntu on Oracle VirtualBox. And here are the instructions provided by the teacher. So let's go. Provided by the instructor. Let's see. So it says install Ubuntu on Oracle VirtualBox. Lots of information available here. I have to go through all of that information and install Ubuntu for myself. Till here, I think I can read this information. So yeah, let's do this. Install Ubuntu on Oracle VirtualBox. Oracle VirtualBox is a Install Ubuntu on Oracle VirtualBox. Oracle VirtualBox is a cross-platform virtualization application. It installs on your existing Intel or AMD-based computers, whether they are running Windows, Mac, Linux, or Solaris operating systems. Wow, that is so cool. So they are telling you here that Oracle VirtualBox is actually cross-platform, which means it is available on multiple platforms, and the most popular platforms like Windows or Mac. Well, once you cover those two, you know that you have covered all the platforms, because they are very popular, Windows and Mac operating systems. Then Linux is also here, and Solaris operating system is also available with VirtualBox. That is very good, and it's by Oracle, and we all know that Oracle is really awesome. Oracle is famous for developing, you guessed it, Java programming language. So VirtualBox is also by them, so that is very good. VirtualBox can create and run a guest operating system virtual machine in a window of the host operating system. Perfect. So we are running an operating system inside our already operating system or the already existing one. And my current operating system is, you guessed it right, Windows 10. And in Windows 10, I am going to install VirtualBox to install the virtual machine of Ubuntu Linux-based operating system. Other popular Linux distributions can be Debian or Linux Mint. The virtual machine provides a self-contained environment in which to experiment with new software without risking damaging changes to the host operating system. So basically, it's a very safe software where you will not be able to damage your current existing operating system. That's good. So they will give instructions with step-by-step guide to show how to install VirtualBox with Ubuntu in it. That is so very good, which is a guest machine. And that's going to be it. There will be file sharing also between the host and the guest operating system, which means between my Windows 10 and the Ubuntu virtual machine. How would you share files with that? So that is good. But the most important task today is to install this Ubuntu. These are the instructions given by the teacher also. So note the instruction here is based on the latest version of VirtualBox. If you have already installed an earlier version, your experience may be different. Absolutely, we need to use the latest version. It is recommended to use the latest version always. That's the key in all operating systems. That's the key in IT, information technology. You got to be updated. You got to stay updated with latest technologies. Installing latest softwares is a part of it. It is recommended to use the latest version of VirtualBox. And you can go to the forum also for additional information. Cool. Go to the VirtualBox website here to download the binary for your current operating system. Since our host machine is running on Windows, I'll choose Windows for that, x86. So I have Windows 64-bit. They are talking about 32-bit here. So let's see what happens. When download is finished, run the exe file. Continue with the installation of VirtualBox with the defaults. This will open at the end of installation VirtualBox. Let's go to the download page. Here we go. VirtualBox is right here. I can see it. It's beautiful. Lots of information to read here. I don't like reading. Okay, what to do here? Please quickly provide me the download link for my OS. So they have packages here. Windows package. Here we go. And I'm gonna download it and save it on the desktop only. La 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 la, look at my fast internet speed. It's called a fiber broadband internet. Fiber optical cable available right here for internet usage. It's going to be absolutely mind-blowing. And it's been downloaded. Let's install it. La 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 la. So they told me to install it with defaults. Do they show the installation process? No. They just tell me to install it with defaults. That's what I'm gonna do. Here we go. VM VirtualBox is right here. Go next. And what do we have here? Networking and go next. Of course, C disk is perfect because I have SSD in there. Perfect to run any software because installed softwares should always be done in SSD to actually run them in a fast manner. You can keep the setups for softwares. You can keep your photos, your videos, everything else in the HDD hard drive, but installed softwares should always be in the solid state drive. Let's go, which is C for me. Perfect. Start menu, shortcut, here we go. Why are you disconnecting me from the network? Okay, sure, no problem. Hopefully everything will still be good. Here we go, the installation process. La 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 la, what would I do in the waiting time? Please go ahead. Here we go, yep. And I think they all automatically recognize that my Windows is 64-bit. So now they are asking me to install a sort of a driver software for USB, I think. Yeah. Universal Serial Bus. Here we go. You should write the full line here. But everything is good. Let's go. Okay, installing the software. And it was already done. I can start the software already. That is good. That is good. See the effect of fast SSD. Come on, here we go. And the software is right here. Welcome to VirtualBox. I love this penguin. It's for Linux, isn't it? Look how sweet it is. I love it. Look at those tools. Wow. Don't play with your tools, never. Anyhow, so we have the VirtualBox available right here installed. Very sweet. And that's what I did. Step 1 done already. Here we go. Right, pumping into the scenario and doing things perfectly well. So the next step is to create a virtual machine. That's cool. Click the new button to open a dialog. Okay. Can I try to actually make it side by side? Yep, it does work well. That is good. Wow, my browser is now working like a tablet because, you know, they have been able to recognize the width of the web page when I shrank the window, and that way the web page automatically adapted to the reduced width, and it means that very comfortable scrolling will be available. Okay, so here we go. Create a virtual machine. Click the new button to open a dialog. So on the left side I have my guide, and on the right side I have the actual VirtualBox software available, which I installed just now. Then is click the new button to open a dialog. Okay, here we go. There's a new button. Yeah, welcome to VirtualBox. My virtual machine will be available here. Let's use the new button. Right. And yep, I clicked on the new button. Why would I say clack? Reminds me of Lewis and Clark, Superman. Anyhow, click the new button. I clicked on the new button and type a name for the new virtual machine. Since I'm planning to install Ubuntu, I'll enter Ubuntu. Absolutely. So, okay. I will simply type Ubuntu because I hope that 14 is also the latest version for me, or it could be 14 plus also. It could be something more than 14, but I'm simply going to type here Ubuntu, and not the version because I don't know what the latest version is. type a names of the virtual machine. Wow. So they say that as soon as I type the name, the VirtualBox automatically mentioned Linux in the type and version Ubuntu 64. So it should mean that Ubuntu 64-bit. So did it recognize it automatically? I think so, it did. I'm recording live, so yeah, I think it definitely did. So that is very good. And machine folder, of course, C drive, because it is my SSD drive for fast usage. Okay, here we go. I have typed the name Ubuntu and type is Linux and Ubuntu 64-bit. Perfect. Absolutely mind-blowing. Perfect. They automatically did it. That's so good. And the memory size on your host, next, should I click next? You should tell me to click next. Why would I know? Or should I? Yeah, I did this. Another screenshot done. Booyah. Okay. Yes, that's what it means. Okay, so the memory size depends on your host machine memory size. Okay, I think they clicked on the button next already. You should tell me to click on next. Yeah, it's important. It's necessary. Okay, click on next. Here we go. The memory size depends on your host machine memory size. In case I have 12 GB physical RAM, I like to allocate as much as possible for Ubuntu, but leave some for my Windows host machine. I pick 8 gigs for my Ubuntu. Note that VirtualBox will create a swap partition with the same amount space as base memory you have entered. So later when you're selecting the size of the virtual hard drive, make sure it is large enough, since the hard drive will be splitting into root and swap partitions. The root partition contains by default all your system files, program settings, and documents. So this technical knowledge, I got a little bit of it. It reminds me about Android rooting, of course. So there must be root and swap partitions in Linux operating system. And we are talking about Ubuntu here. So they are telling me that VirtualBox will automatically create a swap partition, and it will have this exact memory size I choose. So they say allocate the maximum you can. So I will allocate everything in the green area here. 11 gigs should be good enough. Yeah, I will allocate everything in the green area here. That's a good way to actually mention it, just like they did in this guide. And it's a very good software. Look at that, they are already mentioning everything that is available. So that is very good. So 8 gigs for Ubuntu, and VirtualBox will create a swap partition. So they chose 8 gigs. I have increased RAM. Here we go. I have 16 gigs of RAM. So 2 slots actually. 8 gigs each. That is good. So yeah, I'm choosing to allocate about 11 gigs of RAM, everything in the green area, to this Ubuntu operating system. It will run smoothly as anything. So swap, VirtualBox will create a swap partition. Right, so they will create a swap partition with 11 gigs. Okay, so swap partition will be created with 11 gigs, and later when I create hard drive, They are telling me that, hey, make your hard drive very huge. Please don't make it small, so that they will be able to create root and swap partitions required by Linux operating system, Ubuntu. Here we go. This step also done. Woohoo! I'm going so smoothly well. Okay, so root partition contains all your system files, program settings and documents. Here we go. He also chose everything in the green area, and I'm also doing that. Perfect. Click on next. Accept the default create a virtual hard drive now and click create button. Create a virtual hard disk now and click create. So they say that the recommended size is 10 gigabytes, which is very good. If you wish, you can add a virtual hard disk to the new machine. Of course, that's what they mentioned in the previous step. Hey, swap and root partitions, remember? So they're gonna split the hard drive and okay, create. Continue to accept the default VDI drive file type and click the next button. So default type is VDI, VirtualBox disk image. Okay, so there are types of hard drives. So I will create VDI, VirtualBox disk image, click next. So there are many softwares actually popular for creating virtual machines. So Oracle VirtualBox, you can already see the name Oracle means a lot. It is very popular. And at the same time, I've heard that VMware is also very popular. So our teacher actually recommended to use VirtualBox. In fact, she's using VirtualBox for the studies. So why not go by that same method? So change the storage type from default dynamically allocated to fixed size to increase performance. Okay, fixed storage increases performance. Perfect. La 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 la. I definitely hope that you can see everything. Can you see me? Can you see me? Yeah, yeah, yeah. My heart goes sha la 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 la. Okay, fixed size. For the virtual hard drive space, the default value is 8 gigs, which is too little for RNA sequence analysis. Wow, am I coming to biology here? For the virtual hard drive space, the default value is 8 GB. And they say that 8 GB is too little for RNA sequence analysis. I'll pick 100 GB since I have plenty of space in my hard disk. You want to choose good size for your RNA sequence analysis. If you realize the drive space is not large enough, you'll need to go over the steps again to create another virtual machine. So he's creating it in the hard drive and I am also. Wow, did Ubuntu? Okay, but I am creating it in my SSD and we all know that SSDs are expensive. How much storage space I have? I'll need to go to my computer. Where is my computer? Here we go, my computer. How much space I have in my SSD? Good. I have 224 gigs available. Thank God. Gaming. I thought I might have to uninstall some games, but I don't need to do that. 100 gigs. There we go. I'm also gonna do 100 gigs. The default value is 8 GB, which is too little for RNA sequence analysis. I'll pick 100 GB. Since I have plenty of space in my hard disk, you want to choose a good size for your RNA sequence analysis. I think that will be the latest step to understand RNA sequence analysis. But for the time being, the focus is to install this Linux operating virtual machine. If you realize that drive space is not large enough, okay. Here we go. I'm also gonna choose 100 GB just like they mentioned here, and click on the create button. Here we go. It's gonna take some time. La, la, la. I can use this time to actually just watch the screen, relax, and hopefully it will do things perfectly well here. So creating fixed medium storage unit. Perfect. Ubuntu.vdi. So good. Imagine how much my computer is doing at the moment. You know, installing a virtual machine, downloading softwares, showing me guides, and recording computer screen and video and mic, taking input, everything at the same time. Multitasking for the win. Why isn't the time value reducing? Please tell me I do not get stuck here. Okay, so I'm going to wait for 5 minutes for this step to be over. Hopefully it will work. So it's 9:30 a.m. at the moment, and hopefully that this step will be done. Hopefully I won't get stuck here. La 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 la. Why does it still say 3 minutes remaining? Okay, let me see my computer. It says 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So good. See, it allocated some space. Earlier I had 24 gigs free, and now it's 181 gigs. So it allocated about 40 GB for virtual machine. That's good. So it says 2 minutes and 42 seconds. We are very much in the process. That is so very good. So it says 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Perfect. Everything going smoothly well here. So very awesome. Hey, you cannot look at the penguin. My face is covering the screen. Let me show you the penguin. Hey, look at this penguin. Isn't it beautiful? Wow. Perfect. So I am covering the penguin. I am Linux. I am also a Linux operating system. Linux flavors, that's what they call it. Okay, let's see how much time I actually take to install this virtual machine. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la. 1 minute 30 seconds. Perfect. 1 minute 20 seconds. Very good. And here we go, 19. Perfect. 1 minute 13 seconds. 1 minute 10 seconds. Rocket launching. Here we go. Perfect. Linux virtual machine being installed. So on the left side, I have my guide, and on the right side is the actual VirtualBox software by Oracle. I have actually tried VMware in the past, a long time ago. I remember installing Windows XP in it, Windows 98 in it, and it was really a long time ago. And I did that just for fun. So this time I'm installing Ubuntu in VirtualBox by Oracle. That is very good. Perfect. Perfect. 15 seconds to go. 10 seconds. Very nice. La la la. Oh, here we go. Some information is here. Did they just do it? That is so very awesome. Some information is here. It says, if you want the full screen, it says Ubuntu is here. That is very good. And it's powered off at the moment, which means the Ubuntu virtual machine is off. And general information, Ubuntu, very good. Ubuntu 64-bit. Base memory is around 11 gigs. Boot order is floppy disk, optical drive, and hard disk drive. And KVM para virtualization acceleration. Video memory is 16 MB. Graphics controller is VMS VGA. Good. Video memory is 16 MB. Wow. So controller IDE. IDE secondary device is optical drive. Ubuntu.vdi for storage. Allocated 100 GB for that. Host driver Windows Direct Sound. Adapter Intel Pro 1000 empty desktop. USB controller, device filters, no shared folders, no description. Perfect. Okay, let me put it here. That's very good. It's a really good shortcut in Windows, you know, Windows plus left, Windows plus right. Okay, so I'm right here in the steps and installed my OS. Yep. Wow, it took you 15 minutes. For me, it showed 3 minutes, and it almost took like maximum. Yeah, it did take 3 minutes. It took almost 3 minutes or slightly more than that. But for me, it was very quick. So very good. See, that's what it means. That's what the difference SSD makes. Next time, don't use your hard drive. Use your SSD. Okay, so now the virtual machine is created. We are ready to install Ubuntu in this virtual machine. Very awesome. And select your new virtual machine and click Settings button. Okay, so now the virtual machine is created and we are ready to install Ubuntu in this virtual machine. Perfect. So okay, so far I have completely created the virtual machine, and now it's ready to take in Ubuntu. That is very good. Select your new virtual machine and click the settings button. Okay, I have selected my virtual machine and I clicked on the settings button. Perfect, it opened the settings. Very good. Click on storage category and then empty under controller IDE. Okay, storage category and then empty under controller IDE. So I've gone into the storage of, so I created a virtual machine, basically an environment for Ubuntu to actually sit in. So the virtual machine is created with proper naming, RAM, storage space, everything very good. Then I went into the settings and clicked on storage settings. Perfect. Empty under controller IDE. Click CD DVD icon on the right. Click CD DVD icon on the right. Okay. Select the Ubuntu ISO file to mount. Okay, they are talking about this little icon right here, little fella. And then they are telling me select the Ubuntu ISO file to mount. Okay, if you have not downloaded Ubuntu, which I did not, 64-bit, you can check out this page for more information. When downloading Ubuntu ISO file, make sure to select 64-bit. Also make sure VTX virtualization technology has been enabled in your computer BIOS. Okay, do I really need to go into the computer BIOS? My goodness. So I am going to focus on my luck here. So they're obviously talking about virtualization technology setting in the BIOS of the computer. I'm going to depend on my luck here because my BIOS definitely have the default settings, and I'm going to depend on my luck here. Hopefully that the BIOS will have that setting enabled. Virtualization technology. Hopefully that setting will be on in the BIOS and things will go smoothly well. If they will be off, then obviously I will encounter an interruption. When I do that, I will have to restart my computer to go into the BIOS and enable it. But I'm going to depend on my luck here and hope that the virtualization technology setting is on in my BIOS by default. That being said, I need to download Ubuntu. Here I am, Ubuntu. Wow, why do you write so much? Do I have to read all of this? Come on. Please tell me the Ubuntu download page is here. Depending on the machine you have, you can install Ubuntu in different ways. New machine, machine with non-virtual machine, yeah. Where's the download link for Ubuntu? So this is BRB SCQ tools. Why do they just keep writing so much? I have to download Ubuntu here. Ubuntu OS. Installation guide for Ubuntu. Maybe this will be it. Okay, so we are now in the ubuntu.com website. Hopefully they will give me the download link here. The Ubuntu desktop is very easy to use. Thank you so very much. That's very awesome. Okay, next step, introduction for Ubuntu. Very cool. Next step, requirements. Very cool. Are you going to give me the download link or not? They have a download option right here. Put the Ubuntu DVD, restart your computer, boot from USB flash drive. Of course, I know these things. I have tried booting earlier also, like I mentioned with VMware. But for the time being, I think I should use this option to download. Ubuntu desktop, Ubuntu cloud? No, not at all. Ubuntu desktop, Internet of Things. Cool. Anyhow, Ubuntu desktop. So there are two versions here. Which one should I choose? Download the Ubuntu desktop. Okay, I'm going to click it. LTS and normal version. What does that mean? LTS means long-term support. And okay, so I will definitely be using LTS version because it's highlighted. They recommend it as compared to the other release of Ubuntu, where so LTS version, you can compare it with stable and beta releases, although they don't want to use that wording here because LTS means that long-term support is available for 20 version of Ubuntu. So Ubuntu 20.04.3 has long-term support available with it, and Ubuntu 21.04 does not have LTS. So I am going to use the LTS. Let's download. Yep. Here we go, Ubuntu ISO. And this time I'm going to keep it in my hard drive. Where should I keep it? Let's keep it in the softwares folder. Yep. And in the setups. Here we go. Perfect way to name the file and download it. It's 3 gigs. Okay. Okay, I hope that you can see this. Let's open all downloads. Yeah, here we go, all downloads. It's 3 gigs. The speed is good, fine-ish. Give me 4 Mbps. And anyhow, this speed is also very good. Yeah. Still pretty fine speed, pretty good speed. It will take some time to actually download it, around half an hour. Okay, so downloading Ubuntu disk image right here. So this is very good. I am going to wait for half an hour. Obviously, I'm not going to just keep recording it. I'm going to let it download and restart the recording again. So in this recording, it was a very good recording. I was able to do a lot of things in this recording. First of all, I was able to introduce myself. I was able to talk about Linux a bit. Then the most important task was to install virtual machine and have Linux in it. VirtualBox Oracle with Ubuntu in it. So that's what I'm doing here. I have already installed VirtualBox, created a virtual machine, and now I have to put Ubuntu in it. So for that, I am downloading Ubuntu. And there were a few specifications while installing the virtual machine. For example, the disk usage and RAM usage, things like that. You have to be careful with those things. So I chose the RAM to be 11 gigs and disk usage to be 100 gigs, 100 GB. Perfect, everything going smoothly well. And now I'm downloading, and I would say it's a slower speed. You should be faster, but still it's good. Let's just let it download, and then I will have Ubuntu downloaded in my next recording, and then putting Ubuntu into the created virtual machine in VirtualBox. That's what's gonna happen in next step. Perfect, very good beginning for my studies with the computer systems networking technician program at Canadore College. What is up, guys? I'm back here again. I'm back here again with Computer Systems Networking Technician course at Canadore College, Mississauga. So in the last recording, what I did was I actually installed VirtualBox, created a virtual machine in it with proper settings in my SSD, and I left at downloading Ubuntu. So now I actually have downloaded Ubuntu, and I actually decided to put the download in my SSD in the end, that is the C drive, because it is still going to be processed, and process will be faster in the solid state drive. So now the next step is to actually mount Ubuntu into the virtual machine that was created in VirtualBox. Here we go. So if I open that step in the guide, let's see the total length of the guide. Okay, I'm getting closer to the finish line, so that's good. So here we go. Where was I? Yeah, it was right here. Absolutely, mounting the Ubuntu. So yeah, I have downloaded Ubuntu. Now the virtual machine is created. We are ready to install Ubuntu. Select new virtual machine. So I'm at this step right here. So the virtual machine is created and ready to install Ubuntu. Select the settings button. After selecting the virtual machine, select the settings button. Here we go. Settings are right here. And then I have to actually click on storage settings, of course. Then click empty under controller IDE. Select the CD DVD icon. Okay, so now we are ready to install Ubuntu. Select your virtual machine, click on settings button. Absolutely. Then click on storage and then empty under controller IDE. Perfect. Storage, empty under controller IDE. Perfect. Click the CD DVD icon. Okay, not this icon, but they are referring to this small icon right here, and select the Ubuntu ISO file to mount. Not this icon, not this checkbox, but they are referring to this beautiful CD DVD icon. Okay, clicked on it and choose a disk file, which means the ISO file to mount. I have kept it in the C drive only because it is going to be processed. So let's process it faster in the solid state drive. Here we go. Ubuntu and selected open. Perfect. So this is the latest Ubuntu version ISO file 20.04.3. Perfect, 64-bit. Awesome. Now selected it. Ubuntu ISO file. Yep, it is available right here. Perfect. Now I have to click on OK, I think. So why does it say invalid settings here? So they say the hardware virtualization is available in the accelerated section of the system page, although it is not supported by the host system. Okay, so which means I have to go into the BIOS and enable this setting. Oh my goodness. Which means I have to stop the recording again. Oh my god. So like I mentioned, this virtualization setting right here, which they mentioned earlier somewhere in the guide. Right here. So this point right here. Also make sure virtualization has been enabled by your computer BIOS. So I have to go into my BIOS now and enable virtualization technology or VTX. Right? This setting should be enabled in order for this process to work. And it says invalid settings detected. See, these things happen. This is what troubleshooting actually is. This is what information technology sector or field is all about. You have to detect these settings and you have to do the correct settings. I will be back with another recording. What I did just now was I actually went into my settings, my BIOS of the computer, and enabled that virtualization setting. Oh my goodness, it was such an important step. And this is what happens in information technology. It's all about troubleshooting. It's all about knowing the settings. So I Googled it on YouTube. I was able to find out the proper setting options and I went into my BIOS, found that SVM mode setting, and I basically just enabled it. And now virtualization should be enabled in my computer, which is disabled by default. And I should be able to use VirtualBox very properly here, very neatly here. So that being said, let's continue with it. So what I have to do is I have to put the Ubuntu image file into the VirtualBox, which is so very awesome. It's going to be so mind-blowing putting that Ubuntu file into this VirtualBox. So virtual machine has already been created in the VirtualBox. The next step is installing Ubuntu in it. For that, I need to do quite a few things required in this information technology. First, I had to download the Ubuntu ISO file, and then I had to enable virtualization technology by going into my computer's BIOS, SVM mode, enabled. I have a screenshot for it, and now I can continue with the recording. Here we go. So the step is to, I now remember it. Select this, select settings, go into storage for your virtual machine, click on empty, then select the CD DVD icon, choose a, look at that, there is no error sign that was showing up here earlier, right? No error sign means it is correct. So choose the CD DVD to mount. I kept it in the C drive in the SSD because it's going to be processed, and things process very fast in solid state drive. Here we go. Perfect. Next step is to actually click on it. Yeah, this is done. Now, since Top Hat program can take advantage of multiple so they are in the next step here. I should click on OK. Yeah. Okay. Since Top Hat program can take an advantage of multiple processes or threads, it is good idea to specify a large number of processors in virtual machine. Default value is 1. You can change this number by clicking on system category. Okay, so they can take advantage of multiple processors, which means multi-processing. It is good idea to specify a large number of processors in virtual machine. You can change this to any value of processors you can use. So I have AMD Ryzen 7 1700, which means it is a multi-processing computer. It works very well. So I need to go to settings again. Absolutely, of this virtual machine. Click on system and go into processor. Of course, change the number of processors to green value. I would choose 7, not 8, because it's right on the edge. Not do that. I'm gonna choose 7 processors. He still chose 4. It's on the edge. Okay, let's choose this one. I'm gonna choose 8 CPU processors for this virtual machine. Perfect. And rest of the settings, execution cap 100%. Everything is good. Perfect. And since multiple processes are threaded, it is a good idea to specify a large number of processors. Default value is 1. By clicking on system category, CPUs to 4. Perfect. That's what I did. 8 CPUs. Look at that. My AMD Ryzen 7 1700 is capable. Okay. Click on OK button. Sure. Done. VirtualBox may pop up a message about auto capture keyboard option. Read the message there and check do not show this again. No, in my case it did not happen. Next step. Install Ubuntu. Here we go. Now this virtual machine is ready. It is like a pure, I would call it a pure beautiful location where you can put Ubuntu. Right. Install Ubuntu. Back to Oracle VirtualBox Manager. Here we go. Click on New Ubuntu Virtual Machine. Yeah. Back on the VirtualBox again. Sure. Click on Ubuntu and hit the start button. Now you should see a welcome screen. Click Install Ubuntu. Note that the installation process may differ a little bit from version to version. The screenshots here are for 14.04. Okay, let's go. Click the start. La 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 la. Here we go. VirtualBox is running. Auto capture keyboard, perfect. Wow, so the Ubuntu machine is booting up for the first time in this virtual machine. Ubuntu operating system, Linux based operating system on Oracle VirtualBox. Obviously, this is all happening in the solid state drive. I have a hard disk drive of 4 TB, 4 terabyte, and a solid state drive of 500 GB, plenty of storage for anything. So the solid state drive is doing all of this task because it is processing, and we need fast processing. Fast processing happens in solid state drive, but it is more expensive. Hard disk drive is cheaper but slower. So everything is happening in solid state drive, which means everything is happening very quickly. I listened to a beautiful sound of Ubuntu booting up. Good to know. Okay, so here we go. Here are the steps, and I can show the virtual machine also right here. I would like to show it like this. Yeah, a bit bigger. Okay, so this is good. The virtual machine again is on the right side. My computer is doing so many tasks at the same time. I have a brilliant computer. I built it all by myself. All the hardware assembling, all the software installation, I did it myself. Choosing the hardware, assembling that hardware. You know, this computer is so beautiful. I love it. So, installing Ubuntu, back to Oracle Virtual Manager. Click on the new Ubuntu virtual. Okay, this is done. Click the continue button after selecting English. Okay, try Ubuntu or install Ubuntu. Of course, install Ubuntu. Look at that cursor. I love the black cursor in Ubuntu. Install Ubuntu. Here we go. And keyboard English US is good. And click the continue button. Surely. Whoa. Right. Okay. Click the continue button. Then what is it saying? I'm so glad that these buttons are at least half visible. I wonder why that is. There must be some setting here. I'm not sure. Well, it's working fine. So far, so good. So let's keep doing it. So do you want a normal installation or what? Okay, so normal installation. Do not download updates, right? Normal installation. Install third-party software. No, I don't think so. So again, click the continue button. Okay, perfect. What's going on here? Processing is happening. That's good. This computer, so now what I have to choose is erase disk and install Ubuntu. Perfect. Make sure option is selected and click on install now. Perfect. Here we go. If you continue, the changes listed below will be written to the disk. La 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 la. Continue. Here we go. So it's installing Ubuntu. Wow. Ubuntu you will ask you a few questions and choose the right settings for him. Okay, where are you? I'm in India for sure. I won't say Kolkata, I would say Amritsar because, yeah. Okay, so where am I? I'm in Amritsar, right? And click on continue. Your name. My name is Mohak Arora. Pick a username, Mohak, choose a password. It really is that also important? Enter your preferred username and password. Click continue. Okay, so choose a password. And I would love to actually write this password down somewhere. Wait a sec, because I save all of my passwords, because these days I have so many passwords to remember that you cannot actually remember them. You have to write them down. Okay, and my name is Mohak Arora, and your name. Right, I have to save all of these things. Your computer's name. Mohak dash VirtualBox. Username is Mohak. Password is perfect. Right, so I have saved the Ubuntu settings. And then I'll have to actually click on continue, I think. Yep. Perfect. Dude, so my screen is cropped. So let's see if I can try to fix that. Okay. Okay, close it. Okay, so it is showing me some features of Ubuntu, and it is actually installing Ubuntu inside the virtual machine. I wish I could do something about the view here. Okay. I'm trying to do different things here in order to find out this thing. Let's see, scale mode, adjust window size. Okay. Wow. Am I doing too much processing at the same time? Should I actually install Ubuntu first? Okay, whatever it is, it's happening. I'm not afraid to take risks. Scaled mode. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing here, really. I'm just trying to actually use the best settings, but still it is very good. I can see Ubuntu quite a bit, only that it is cropped from the lower side. I wonder why that is. It could be a resolution thing, it could be anything. But hey, a huge part of Ubuntu is visible to me, so that's good. Let's try to see the internet and see if something is available. Ubuntu screen cropped. Okay, VirtualBox screen cropped. I would rather write this. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know what's happening here. I will definitely see what happens after the installation. But for the time being now, I gotta focus on this VirtualBox. The great thing is the Ubuntu operating system has successfully installed itself into the VirtualBox, which is so very good. And beautiful virtual machine ready. Oh my goodness, that is so very awesome. So I prepared the virtual machine and now I have installed Ubuntu in it. It feels so awesome. Operating system inside an operating system. So installation is complete. You need to restart the computer in order to use the new installation. Of course, they are talking about the virtual machine. Let's do that. Okay, so yeah, I'm at this step. Okay, so after the installation is complete, click the restart now button, which I just did myself. When you see a screen with a black background saying please remove installation media and close the tray if any, then press enter right here. So this is the virtual machine. I am at this section only. Please remove installation media and close the tray, then press enter. Just follow it. So you want me to press enter? Let's try to do that. Okay, I followed it. Loading happening here for the Ubuntu. So very good. Here we go. Myself right here. So awesome. And click on my username, of course. They will ask for my password, which I just used for Ubuntu. Of course. Done. So the right side is am I pointing things right here, or is my screen mirrored? I'm really not sure. So the right side of the screen is Ubuntu itself, and the left side of the screen is the guide for installing Ubuntu. The right side is the virtual machine, VirtualBox, Ubuntu Linux based operating system installed in it. Left side of the screen is the guide. My video camera would be mirrored, so if I point to right, where does it point? Okay, right. Okay, my screen is fine. I feel like it's fine. Yeah. Okay. So this is Ubuntu virtual machine installed inside VirtualBox, Ubuntu Linux based operating system, and this. And on the other side is the guide for doing that. Okay. On the right hand of, let me present things clearly. On the right side of the screen, you will see the VirtualBox Oracle running Ubuntu virtual machine. On the left side of the screen is the guide for doing that. Okay, press enter. Perfect. Wow, so connect your online accounts. Do you want to connect your online accounts? Calendar, documents, and photos. No, I don't want to do that. Skip that. They can be added and removed anytime from the settings application. Okay, skip that. Live batch helps keep your computer secure by applying some updates that would normally require restarting. Next. Help improve Ubuntu. Next. Location services allows to determine your job. Okay. Next. You are ready to go. You can use software to install all of your favorite apps. My goodness. Spotify is here. That is so very awesome. Yeah, these apps are my favorite. Let's press done. No, I would Actually, they are talking about the latest. This is the latest version 20.04. They are obviously talking about the not LTS version, not long time support version. I don't want that, so remind me later. Okay, here is Ubuntu right here, beautifully presented in the VirtualBox virtual machine. Perfect. Look at that beautiful wallpaper. The Ubuntu desktop OS is ready, and you may find the desktop screen. Is too small. Okay, so my screen is not cropped, which is very good. My screen is not cropped, which is very good. It is perfect. Very beautiful Ubuntu desktop installed right here. However, they do mention that you will notice that the desktop screen is too small. You can solve this easily with VirtualBox guest editions. Okay, I'm gonna increase the screen size later, but for the time being, the task or the goal was to set up a virtual machine inside the VirtualBox software by Oracle and set it up properly, then install Ubuntu inside that virtual machine. I did the proper settings, I followed the proper procedures. In the middle, there was need for some change of settings, there was need for downloading. I did all of that, and Linux based Ubuntu is right here in front of me inside the Oracle VirtualBox virtual machine. It is so beautiful, so very awesome. Everything is ready and perfect. Here we go. You can see that there are options like settings, pause, reset, or shutdown options available right here. So that is so very good, so very awesome. And it is so very beautiful to actually see an operating system inside my operating system. So my operating system is Windows 10, and I have installed Oracle VirtualBox in it, created a virtual machine, and then installed Linux based Ubuntu in it. So very awesome. So this was the aim for today, and it is done. It was very enjoyable to do that. I feel very awesome. And Canadore College Computer Systems Networking Technician program is really awesome.